Listen closely, because what I'm about to say is not for the faint-hearted. This is for those who understand that the battlefield of respect and reputation is not won by silence or meek endurance. It is for the ones who rise, not quietly, but with the force of a tempest unleashed. You are not here to tiptoe around the shadows, nor to whisper apologies into the void. You are here because you did something that most wouldn't dare to imagine. You didn't just hold still in the storm of lies and deceit. You blasted their name to pieces. You shattered the facade, broke the illusion, and dismantled their fortress of falsehood with precision that left no room for doubt. This is a celebration of that fierce moment where you turn the tide, where the scales of power tipped irrevocably in your favor, and where you destroyed their credibility in one devastating move. Imagine the weight of every word, every accusation, every whisper meant to cage you in silence. They thought you would crumble, that the walls of deceit they built would stand firm against your truth. But no, you stepped forward with a resolve so cold and unyielding that it cut through their carefully constructed lies like a sharpened blade. This is not just about defending yourself. This is about reclaiming what was stolen, exposing the rot beneath the surface, and watching as their name, once spoken with confidence, now echoes hollow in the chambers of history. You are the force that fractured their narrative, the storm that uprooted their deceit, the reckoning they never saw coming. There is a rare kind of power in dismantling a lie with such clarity that it leaves no space for rebuttal, no room for denial. You didn't just respond. You obliterated. You didn't just counter. You annihilated their credibility in one bold, unyielding strike. This was no mere reaction. It was a calculated act of courage, intelligence, and unshakable belief in your own truth. Every sentence you spoke, every fact you laid bare, every piece of evidence you revealed was a hammer blow against the walls of their false empire. And the sound of those walls crumbling was the anthem of your victory. Consider the silence that followed. The void left in the wake of their collapse is not emptiness, but a testament to your undeniable triumph. Their supporters scattered, their voices faltered, their once confident claims turned to dust. You stood, not as a victim, but as a victor. You didn't just survive the storm, you became it. You didn't just endure their attacks, you transformed them into fuel for your ascent. You took the poison they tried to feed you and turned it into the venom that destroyed their standing. This moment is yours, eternal and unshakable. It takes a rare kind of strength to not only confront the darkness, but to cast it away with such finality. You did not hold still in the face of slander. You did not bow to the weight of falsehoods. You exploded through the barriers they set, reducing their influence to rubble with a force that was equal parts intellect and relentless will. This is not a story of mere survival. It is a declaration of power, a manifesto of control. In a world that often rewards silence and submission, you chose the path of confrontation and triumph. You chose to be the storm that no one could calm. Think about what this means in the larger scope of your life. When they doubted you, you showed them proof. When they underestimated you, you shattered their assumptions. When they sought to drag your name through the mud, you washed it clean in the flood of truth. This was not just an act of defense, but a radical reclamation of your identity, your narrative, your destiny. You destroyed their credibility in one move, but more importantly, you reconstructed your own legacy in the aftermath. The ashes of their falsehoods became the soil from which your power grew. Remember, this is not just about what happened. It is about what you represent now. You are the embodiment of unwavering resolve, a beacon of fearless integrity in a landscape littered with deception. You showed that truth is not fragile, but formidable. You taught a lesson to those who thought their lies would stand unchallenged. You sent a message to everyone watching. Do not mistake silence for weakness. Do not confuse restraint with surrender. You are a force of nature, a living proof that sometimes the most profound victories come from a single, unstoppable strike. And in this, there is something deeply poetic. The quiet before the storm is a place of gathering strength, a moment of preparation. But the storm itself, the blast that shatters everything in its path, is an event that changes everything. That blast is what you delivered. That blast is the moment where they realized that the ground beneath their feet was no longer solid. That blast is your voice, your truth, your unyielding presence manifest in action. It is a moment of reckoning that resonates far beyond the immediate, a shockwave that redefines the boundaries of power and respect. Let this moment be a reminder that you are not powerless. You are not the victim of circumstance or manipulation. You are the architect of your own fate, the warrior of your own battlefield. You did not hold still. You exploded forward. You did not wait for justice. You made it happen. You did not hope for redemption. You commanded it. You destroyed their credibility in one move, but you built something far greater, a fortress of integrity and strength that no lie can breach. This victory, raw and unfiltered, is a call to everyone who has been underestimated, dismissed, or betrayed. It is a beacon of hope and a blueprint for action. The world will throw shadows. It will challenge your truth. It will test your limits. But you have already proven that silence is not your weapon. Action is as. You have shown that one decisive moment can rewrite history, shatter illusions, and turn the tide irrevocably in your favor. This is not the end, but the beginning of a new chapter where you are the author, the hero, and the legend. So stand tall in this moment. Own the power you wielded, the damage you inflicted on falsehood, and the victory you claimed. You didn't just hold still, you blasted their name to pieces, and in doing so, you destroyed their credibility in one move. Let that truth echo in your mind, in your soul, and in every step you take forward. The world has witnessed your strength. Now, live as the unstoppable force you have proven yourself to be. You see, the power you unleashed did not come from anger alone, nor from rash impulses. No, it was born from a long and quiet preparation, a simmering fire that refused to be extinguished, a calculated determination that waited for the perfect moment to erupt. This kind of power is rare because it is not born from chaos, but from clarity. You understood who you were facing, what was at stake, and how much was riding on your ability to respond with precision and force. In that moment, your voice was the hammer, and their name the fragile glass. With one well-aimed strike, the glass shattered, scattering their lies into shards too sharp to gather again. Every person watching could see it. They witnessed the fall of a giant made from nothing but smoke and mirrors. The arrogance that once surrounded their name, the certainty with which they wielded their influence, was replaced by silence, confusion, and eventually, disbelief. This is what it means to destroy credibility, to turn certainty into doubt, power into weakness, respect into fear. And you did this not by chance but by choice, not by hesitation, but by the certainty of your own truth. You made it clear that the ground they stood on was built on sand, and when the tide came, everything collapsed. It is important to understand that this moment, your moment, does not exist in isolation. It is the result of countless smaller battles fought within yourself. The sleepless nights when you questioned if it was worth the fight, the moments when doubt crept in like a shadow, threatening to swallow your resolve. But you did not let that shadow consume you. Instead, you used it to sharpen your focus, to build your strategy, to prepare for this moment of reckoning. The explosion of truth that ripped through their defenses was decades in the making, forged from resilience and steeled by persistence. Look back on all the times you felt unheard, dismissed, or underestimated. Each time they tried to pin a narrative on you, each time they whispered behind your back or cast doubt on your integrity, it was fuel. Fuel for the moment you would rise and blast their name to pieces. It is in this accumulation of pain, frustration, and determination that true power grows. You didn't simply stumble into victory. You sculpted it with your own hands, shaping the words, crafting the evidence, and timing your strike so perfectly that it left no room for escape or rebuttal. This was a masterclass in reclaiming your narrative, and every second of preparation was worth it. And what did you gain in that moment? More than just the fall of your adversaries. You gained respect, the kind that cannot be given, but must be earned through action. You gained the quiet admiration of those who had watched from the sidelines, unsure if anyone had the courage to stand so boldly. You gained the knowledge that you are not defined by their attempts to diminish you, but by the strength with which you respond. This moment was not just a personal victory. It was a declaration to the world that truth, when wielded without fear, can dismantle even the strongest walls built on lies. Yet, with great victory comes responsibility. The name you destroyed was a symbol, a representative of a larger system of deceit, manipulation, and control. Your act of blasting their credibility is a beacon to others who live in the shadow of similar falsehoods. Your example shows that silence is no longer an option, and that the power to dismantle these false narratives lies within the grasp of those who dare to speak with clarity and courage. You have set a precedent, a challenge to the world, that lies will not go unchallenged, that deception will be met with relentless truth. Do not underestimate the ripples of this moment. Just as a single explosion sends shockwaves far beyond its epicenter, your action has sent tremors through the fabric of influence and control. Others who thought themselves untouchable must now reckon with the fact that their credibility is fragile, their power conditional. This moment is a rupture in their story, a permanent scar that changes how history will remember them and how the future will perceive their name. You have changed the narrative not only for yourself, but for everyone who believes in justice, in truth, and in the power of courage. The true weight of your victory will become clearer as time passes. The moment you destroyed their credibility in one move is like a spark igniting a wildfire of change. It forces new questions, challenges old assumptions, and creates space for voices that were once silenced to rise. It is a turning point, a moment when the scales begin to balance differently, when the invisible chains of deception begin to break. And this change is not just external, it is internal, a transformation within you. You have proven to yourself the extent of your own power, your ability to influence reality, to shape outcomes, and to command respect through truth. There will be those who attempt to rebuild the shattered name, who scramble to repair the damage you inflicted. But the cracks you created run deep, fractures that will forever alter the foundation. Their attempts to restore credibility will be met with suspicion, their words weighed against the undeniable evidence you laid bare. This is the lasting impact of your action. It is not a fleeting victory, but a permanent change in perception. The fortress they once inhabited now stands in ruins, and you are the architect of that downfall. You didn't just hold still, you blasted their name to pieces, and the echoes of that blast will be heard for years to come. Now, as you stand in the aftermath, take a moment to recognize the magnitude of what you've accomplished. This is not a small feat or a fleeting triumph. It is a monumental achievement that required every ounce of your strength, intelligence, and resolve. It is a testament to the fact that the truth, when wielded with precision and courage, is an unstoppable force. And you are that force. You are the living proof that silence is not the only path, that resistance is possible, and that sometimes a single, decisive move can change everything. Hold this victory close, but do not let it be your only moment. Let it be the foundation for what comes next. The power you demonstrated is yours to wield whenever necessary, a reminder that you are never truly powerless. The name you destroyed is a symbol of what can fall when faced with unyielding truth. Use this knowledge to inspire yourself and others, to continue to challenge falsehoods wherever they appear, and to never again allow deception to go unchallenged. Your journey is far from over, but this moment marks a turning point, a new era where you hold the reins, where your voice commands attention, and where your truth reigns supreme. You didn't just hold still, you blasted their name to pieces. You destroyed their credibility in one move. Let those words resonate, fuel your future, and remind you always of the unstoppable force you are. Think about the way the world tries to cage those who refuse to fit into the mold it's crafted. They try to silence you with rumors, diminish you with half-truths, and cage your spirit with lies designed to undermine every ounce of your credibility. But what you did was refuse to be a prisoner of their narrative. You didn't just stand your ground, you tore down the walls that held you captive. You didn't just survive their attempts to break you, you exploded through them, reducing their name to nothing more than ashes on the wind. And in doing so, you shattered a system that thrives on the illusion of control and deception. This kind of victory isn't given lightly. It is forged in the furnace of endurance and sharpened by the blade of resolve. You didn't stumble into it, you earned it. Every second spent fighting against the tide, every moment you resisted the pressure to stay silent, was a step toward this inevitable breakthrough. The moment when your words struck like thunder, when their carefully woven fabric of lies unraveled before your eyes, was the culmination of a relentless journey. This wasn't luck, it was strategy, patience, and an unshakable belief in the power of your own truth. You might wonder, how does it feel to destroy something so monumental with just one move? It feels like the release of all the tension built up from years of deception and mistrust. It feels like the release of all the tension built up from years of deception and mistrust. It feels like the breaking of chains you didn't even realize were holding you back. It feels like standing on the edge of a cliff and choosing to leap, not into the void, but into the freedom that comes with undeniable victory. You didn't just blast their name to pieces. You liberated yourself from the shadow it cast over you. But be warned, this power you've harnessed also carries a profound responsibility. In a world that often values spectacle over substance, truth over illusion, you have shown what happens when integrity becomes a weapon. You have become the guardian of that weapon. Your victory is a beacon, but it also calls for vigilance. The forces of deceit will never fully disappear. They adapt, mutate, and attempt to rise again. Your role now is to remain vigilant, to keep your truth alive and sharp, ready to defend it against the inevitable attempts to rewrite the story or cast out anew. The weight of their broken credibility is heavier than you might think. It is not just the loss of respect, it is the unraveling of trust that took years to build and seconds to destroy. You dealt a blow so precise, so powerful, that it dismantled the very foundation on which they stood. And once that foundation crumbles, everything built upon it is doomed to fall. This is why your move was not just a victory for yourself, but a seismic shift in the landscape around you. You altered the balance of power, reminding everyone that no empire built on lies can withstand the assault of undeniable truth. There is a certain darkness in this kind of victory, because in destroying, you witness the fall of something that once seemed untouchable. But within that darkness, there is an incredible light, the light of justice, the light of courage, the light of liberation. You brought that light into the darkest corners, exposing what was hidden, revealing what was concealed. And now, those shadows have nowhere left to hide. Your victory is not just a story of destruction, but a story of illumination. As you move forward from this moment, carry with you the lessons learned. Understand that power is not just about force. It is about precision, timing, and unrelenting confidence in your own truth. The moment you destroyed their credibility was a masterclass in these principles. You showed that it is not enough to merely hold your ground. You must strike with intention, with clarity, and with conviction. This is how legends are made, how history is written, and how truth prevails over falsehood. This victory also changes you. It reshapes your understanding of what is possible, what you deserve, and what you are capable of achieving. You have seen firsthand that the voices that try to silence you are only as powerful as you allow them to be. You have felt the strength that comes from breaking free of their grip. This experience should fuel your future battles, remind you that silence is a choice, and that speaking out, forcefully and truthfully, is your greatest weapon. Now, imagine the ripple effects of your victory. Others who have been trapped by lies will see your example and find the courage to fight back. The defeated name you shattered will serve as a warning to those who would try to deceive, manipulate, or undermine others. Your action becomes a catalyst for change, a beacon of hope for those who have been silenced or ignored. In this way, your victory is not just personal, it is communal. It resonates far beyond you, shaking the very foundations of falsehood and inspiring a new era of truth and accountability. Remember, the path you walked was not easy. It was fraught with doubt, fear, and opposition. But through it all, you remained unshaken. You stood tall in the face of adversity and chose to fight not with petty words or empty threats, but with undeniable proof and relentless truth. This is the hallmark of true strength. This is why you didn't just hold still. You blasted their name to pieces. Because sometimes, the only way to silence the noise of lies is with a blast of unyielding truth that cannot be ignored or forgotten. Let this moment define you, not just as a survivor, but as a conqueror. Not just as someone who defends their name, but as someone who destroys falsehoods with a single, decisive move. Your story is one of transformation, from doubt to certainty, from silence to voice, from weakness to unbreakable power. And it is a story that deserves to be told, remembered, and celebrated. So rise with this power. Move forward knowing that you have the strength to face any challenge, the clarity to see through any deception, and the courage to shatter any illusion. You didn't just hold still. You blasted their name to pieces. You destroyed their credibility in one move. And that truth, that undeniable fact, will be the foundation upon which you build every future victory. Ladies and gentlemen, you stand at the precipice of greatness. The moment you've worked for, the moment you've sacrificed for, is now upon you. You've taken over the game, and now they're struggling to keep up. There was a time when they thought you were just another face in the crowd, when they looked past you, dismissing your ambition, your drive, and your relentless hunger to succeed. They had their doubts, They questioned your every move, and they laughed at the audacity of your dreams. But now they see what you've become. You have risen beyond the limits they set for you, beyond the expectations they imposed, and you've set a new standard. And as you stand on top of the world, they watch from below, struggling, gasping, trying to catch up to your relentless pace. This is your moment. The moment when you realize that all those late nights, all the sacrifices you made, all the times you pushed yourself past the limits of exhaustion, all those moments when you stood alone, rejected, underestimated, none of that was in vain. It all paid off. You didn't just enter the game, you took it over. And now, the very people who tried to break you, who doubted you, who dismissed you, they are struggling. They are scrambling to find a foothold, trying to comprehend how you reached this point and how they can even begin to keep up with someone like you. You see, what they don't understand is this: you were never meant to be a follower. You were never meant to play by the rules of the game that others set for you. While they were content with mediocrity, with following the same tired path that everyone before them had walked, you chose a different route. You chose to break free from the chains that bound you to conformity. You chose to think bigger, to aim higher, to push yourself harder. You weren't interested in playing it safe. You weren't interested in fitting into their narrow definition of success. You wanted more. You wanted it all, and now you have it. They may try to pretend that they don't care, that they're not concerned with what you're doing, but deep down, they know the truth. They know that you've taken control of the game, and now they're struggling to even stay in the race. They're behind, trying to figure out how to catch up to you, how to close the gap. But it's too late. You've already set the pace. You've already shown them what is possible. You've already proven that limits are nothing more than illusions, and success is simply a matter of willpower and determination. When you started, they thought you were foolish. They thought you were overconfident. They laughed at your ambition and ridiculed your dreams. They didn't see the fire burning inside you, the relentless drive that pushed you to keep going when everyone else gave up. They didn't see the sacrifices you made behind closed doors, the moments of doubt you overcame, the pain you pushed through. But now they see it all. Now they understand the price you paid to get to this point. And now they know that they were wrong. The game has changed. You changed it. You didn't wait for permission. You didn't ask for approval. You didn't sit back and wait for the perfect moment to make your move. You took action. You made your own opportunities. You created your own path. And now, they are struggling to follow in your footsteps, trying to catch up to your momentum, but they're always a step behind. They say that success is a lonely road, and that's true. The higher you climb, the fewer people there are with you. And those who were once close to you, those who once walked beside you, they now find themselves lost, trying to keep up with a version of you that they can't even recognize. You've outgrown them, you've surpassed them, and that's not your fault. You didn't leave them behind. They simply couldn't keep up with the pace you set. And yet, despite all your success, despite the fact that you've already won the game, there will be those who will try to tear you down. There will be those who will try to discredit your achievements, to make you feel like you don't deserve to be where you are. They will try to diminish your success, to tell you that it was luck, that you didn't truly earn it. But don't listen to them. Don't let their jealousy and bitterness cloud your judgment. You earned every inch of this. You fought for every victory. You pushed yourself to the limit and beyond. You have every right to stand tall and proud, because you've done what they never could. They're struggling now, and they will continue to struggle, because they don't have what you have. They don't have the vision, the determination, the strength to keep moving forward when the world tells them to stop. They don't have the grit to keep fighting when everyone else has already given up. They don't have the heart to keep pushing when the pain is too much to bear. But you do. You have all of that and more. And that's why you're standing at the top while they're stuck at the bottom, looking up at you, wishing they could be where you are. You are the standard now. You are the one they look to for inspiration. You are the one they will try to imitate, but they will never be able to replicate your success because your journey was unique. Your struggles were your own. Your victories were hard-earned. They may try to copy your moves, but they will never have the heart that you have. They will never have the same fire that you have, burning inside of you. They will never be able to match the hunger that drives you to keep going, even when the odds are stacked against you. So, let them struggle. Let them watch from the sidelines as you continue to rise higher, as you continue to break barriers and set new records. Let them try to catch up, but know that they never will. Because you didn't just take over the game, you changed it. You showed the world what it means to truly succeed. You showed them that greatness isn't given. It's earned through hard work, perseverance, and an unshakable belief in yourself. Now that you're on top, you have a responsibility to continue pushing forward, to continue leading by example. You can't stop now. You can't rest on your laurels. There are more mountains to climb, more battles to win, more records to break. You've shown them what you're capable of, but you have to keep proving it to yourself. You have to keep showing up, day in and day out, and doing what it takes to stay on top. Because this is just the beginning. The game you've taken over, the one they're struggling to keep up with, is just the first step. There's more to come, and you're ready for it. And when the world tries to pull you down, when the doubters and haters come for you, you'll stand tall. You'll remember how far you've come, how much you've overcome, and how much you've achieved. You'll remember that they thought you couldn't do it, and you'll remember that you proved them wrong. You will keep moving forward, because you know that the only way to truly stay on top is to keep pushing, to keep evolving, to keep striving for more. So hold your head high, because you've earned it. You've taken over the game, and now they're struggling to keep up. But that's not your problem. Your problem is to keep rising, to keep leading, to keep breaking the rules and setting the standard. And trust me, there's nothing more satisfying than knowing that no matter how hard they try, they will never catch up to you. You've already left them behind. The moment you look back, you realize just how far you've come. What once seemed like a distant dream is now your reality. And it's a reality they can only watch from a distance, struggling to find their way forward, while you soar above them, outpacing them in ways they couldn't even begin to comprehend. It's not just a matter of speed, it's a matter of vision, of strength, of relentless focus that they simply couldn't muster. You didn't take the easy route. You didn't take the comfortable path. You chose the path that only those with the courage to embrace the unknown would dare to walk. And now, with every step, you've left them behind. So far behind that even if they tried to catch up, they would still be chasing shadows. But you didn't do it for them. You did it for yourself. You did it because you believed in your own potential when no one else did. You saw something in yourself that no one else could. While they were stuck in their limitations, trapped by their fears, and paralyzed by their insecurities, you chose to rise above it all. You chose to embrace the struggle, the discomfort, and the sacrifice. You chose to be uncomfortable, to push your boundaries, to live outside of the predictable and the safe. They didn't understand that. They couldn't see the value in it. They couldn't comprehend the immense power that comes from fighting through the storms, the darkest days, the moments when all you had was your will to keep going. And now, they're looking up at you, stunned, confused, and trying desperately to play catch-up. but they're too far behind to ever close the gap. They may try to replicate what you've done. They may try to copy your moves, but they will always be a step too slow, a moment too late. They'll never understand that the success you've achieved didn't come from shortcuts, from playing it safe, or from following the crowd. It came from embracing the grind, from living in the trenches, from facing down your fears every single day and saying, "You will not defeat me." That's something they'll never know. They'll never understand the true nature of sacrifice, the sleepless nights, the relentless pursuit of a vision that only you could see. You didn't just do this for recognition or applause. You did it because you knew, deep down, that you had something special, something rare, something that could change the game. You didn't need their validation. You didn't need their support. You didn't need their validation. You didn't need their support. You didn't need their approval. You had your own drive, your own fire, your own unbreakable will. And it was that fire that propelled you forward, that kept you pushing through when everyone else gave up, when they told you it was impossible, when they told you it would never happen. You proved them wrong. What sets you apart, what makes you different from the ones who are still struggling to catch up, is your mentality. It's your unwavering belief that anything is possible if you are willing to work for it. It's the fact that you understand the value of persistence, of resilience, of refusing to quit, even when the world seems to be pushing against you. While they were busy looking for the easy way out, the quick fix, the shortcut, you were busy putting in the work. You were busy developing your skills, refining your craft, pushing your limits, and doing the things that no one else was willing to do. And now, they're struggling to even keep up with you, trying to figure out what they missed, what they didn't do, what they could have done differently. They look at you, at what you've accomplished, and they can't figure out how you did it. The truth is, they were never willing to do what you did. They were never willing to sacrifice what you sacrificed. They were never willing to go through the pain and the struggle to get to the place you've reached. But here's the thing, when you reach the top, when you've achieved everything you've worked for, there's no turning back. You can't go back to being who you were before. You've evolved. You've become someone different, someone who sees the world through a new lens, someone who knows what it takes to succeed and who is willing to continue pushing for more. And those who are struggling to keep up will never understand that. They will keep looking for shortcuts, keep looking for ways to bypass the process, but they'll never get it. Because the process, the struggle, the grind, it's what makes you who you are. It's what builds the strength, the character, the resilience that enables you to stay at the top while they struggle to even find their way to the middle. When you've taken over the game, you've changed the rules, you've rewritten the playbook. And now, as they try to follow, as they try to understand how you did it, they realize they can't play by the same rules they once did. They've become obsolete. The game has evolved, and they are still stuck in the past. They still think that success can be achieved by following the same old patterns, by playing it safe, by staying within their comfort zones. But you've already moved on. You've already outgrown those limitations. And now, you are moving at a pace they can't even comprehend. You didn't get to this point by being average. You didn't get here by taking the same route that everyone else took. You didn't succeed by following in the footsteps of others. No, you took the road less traveled. You carved your own path. You built your own legacy. And now, you are a force to be reckoned with. And they are stuck in the past, stuck in their own limitations, stuck in their own fears. It's a hard truth to accept, but the reality is this. When you leave them behind, it's not out of malice. It's simply because you've outgrown them. You've become someone they can't relate to anymore. You've developed the mindset of a winner, the mentality of someone who is always striving for more, always pushing for better, always reaching for greatness. They're still holding on to their old beliefs, their old ways of thinking, and they just can't catch up. They may try to imitate you, but they will always fall short because they don't have the foundation you've built. They don't have the resilience, the grit, the drive that you have inside you. And the reality is, you don't owe them anything. You don't owe them an explanation. You don't owe them your time, your energy, or your attention. You've done the work, you've paid the price, you've earned your place at the top. If they want to catch up, they'll have to do the same. But you know they won't. You know they won't put in the work. You know they won't make the sacrifices. And so, they'll continue to struggle while you continue to rise. This is your moment. This is your time. You've shown them what it means to truly succeed. You've set the bar so high that they'll never be able to reach it. And now, it's up to you to keep climbing, to keep pushing forward, to keep achieving. Because there's always more to be done. There's always a next level. You've taken over the game. And now, it's your responsibility to continue to shape it, to continue to lead, to continue to inspire those who are still stuck in the shadows. Let them struggle. Let them try to catch up. But you're already far ahead, and you're not stopping now. You're not stopping now, and you never will. There is no finish line in this game. You've chosen to dominate. The journey you've embarked upon is one that doesn't have a singular destination, but an ongoing evolution, a continuous progression towards something bigger, something more powerful. You've already reached a level of success that most only dream of, but for you, it's just the beginning. You've proven to yourself and to the world that there is no ceiling to what you can achieve, that your potential is limitless, and that you're not bound by the same limitations that others place on themselves. The road ahead is uncharted territory, and you're the one with the courage to lead the way, to break through the barriers that others are still too afraid to even acknowledge. As you stand in the position you do now, with all eyes watching you, waiting for you to stumble, waiting for you to slip, you only become stronger. The higher you climb, the more pressure they'll try to put on you. But you're built for this. You've spent countless hours forging your mind, body, and spirit, conditioning yourself for every challenge, every obstacle, and every setback that could come your way. While others think that success is a finite thing, that once you reach the top, it's time to rest. You know better. For you, the top is just the beginning. There is always more to learn, more to achieve, and more to conquer. The moment you stop striving for more, the moment you stop pushing forward, is the moment you start falling behind. And you don't intend to ever fall behind again. You've already left the doubters and the naysayers behind, but that doesn't mean you're done. It doesn't mean you've reached your full potential. It doesn't mean you've achieved everything you're capable of. Number, you've only scratched the surface. The world has yet to see what you're truly capable of. The vision you have for your life, for your success, is far beyond anything most people could even dream of. They're still struggling to catch up to your level, and you're already plotting the next move, already thinking about the next step in your journey. While they're still trying to understand how you did what you've done, you're already looking ahead, already preparing to leave them even further behind. There are those who think that success is an event, a singular achievement that once obtained defines you forever. But success isn't an event, it's a mindset, a constant state of growth, an ongoing process of becoming the person you were always meant to be. Success doesn't stop when you hit a certain milestone or achieve a certain goal. It doesn't stop when you break a record or make a name for yourself. Success is what happens when you make the choice to keep moving, to keep pushing, and to keep striving for more, no matter how high you've climbed or how much you've already accomplished. You've learned that the moment you stop challenging yourself, the moment you become complacent with where you are, You risk losing everything that you've worked for. That's why you're not stopping now. You can't. You won't. The moment you take your foot off the gas is the moment you give others the opportunity to catch up, to take your place. And that's not something you're willing to let happen. While others are still figuring out how to navigate the game, how to get ahead, how to gain an advantage, you've already redefined the rules. You've already created your own system, your own way of doing things, your own strategy for winning. You've embraced the idea that there is no one-size-fits-all solution to success. You've learned that in order to rise above the rest, you have to be willing to do what no one else is willing to do. You have to be willing to make the sacrifices others won't make. You have to be willing to take the risks others are too afraid to take. And you've done that time and time again. When the world told you to play it safe, you took the risk. When everyone else was playing by the same old playbook, you wrote your own. You weren't afraid to be different, to stand out, to stand alone when necessary. While they were busy trying to fit in, trying to follow the formula, you were busy making your own path. And that's what got you here. That's what put you in the position you're in now. That's why you're not stopping now. You've reached the top, but you know that it's not about the destination. It's about the process, the journey, and the drive that keeps you moving forward. The people who once doubted you, the people who once said you couldn't do it, are still watching you, still questioning your every move. But they don't understand. They can't. They don't have the same fire that you do, the same unshakable determination that propels you forward, even when it feels like the world is against you. They don't know what it takes to keep going when the odds are stacked against you, when every part of you wants to quit. They don't know what it feels like to push through when every muscle in your body is telling you to stop, when every voice in your head is telling you that it's too hard. But you do. You've been there. You've felt that pain. You've experienced that fear, but you didn't let it stop you. You used it as fuel. You used it as motivation, and that's why you're not stopping now. The world will try to break you. The world will try to push you down. It will throw obstacles in your way, try to knock you off course, try to make you doubt yourself. But the difference between you and those who struggle to keep up is that you've built a foundation that can't be shaken. You've developed a resilience that can't be broken. You've conditioned yourself to thrive in the face of adversity, to rise stronger from every setback, and to turn every failure into a lesson. When they get knocked down, they stay down. But when you get knocked down, you rise. You rise because you know that it's not the fall that matters. It's how you get up. And every time you get up, you get stronger, smarter, and more powerful. So as they try to catch up, as they scramble to keep pace with you, know that you're already thinking about the next move. You're already thinking about how to raise the bar even higher, how to push the limits even further, how to make them struggle even more to keep up. You're not concerned with their struggles, because you know they'll always be chasing you, trying to close the gap, but never quite able to do so. And that's okay. Let them chase. Let them try. But know that the gap you've created is a chasm they will never cross, because they don't have the mindset, the drive, or the vision that you do. And when the inevitable hurdles come, when the tough times hit, when the doubts creep in, you'll face them head on. You'll stare them down and remind yourself that you're built for this. You were born for this. You're not stopping now, and you won't ever stop. The road ahead is yours to conquer, and nothing and no one can stand in your way. You've already proven that you have what it takes to win, to succeed, and to rise above every challenge. And the world has only begun to see what you're capable of. So keep moving, keep climbing, keep dominating. Because the game you've taken over, it's yours now. And nothing is going to stop you from winning. You've already left them behind, and now you're setting your sights on new heights. You're not stopping now, and you never will. In the end, your journey is just beginning. The game you've conquered is only a chapter in a much larger story of relentless growth, unyielding determination, and untapped potential. As others struggle to catch up, you'll continue to push boundaries, redefine the rules, and rise higher than ever before. You've proven to yourself and the world that you are unstoppable. And as long as you keep moving forward, no one will ever come close to matching your drive, your ambition, or your unwavering commitment. The path ahead is yours to claim. You're not stopping now, and you never will. Welcome back, titans of silence breakers, architects of resistance, survivors who didn't just crawl out of the wreckage, but came back wielding blueprints for something eternal. You weren't born into applause or handed permission to speak. You earned every ounce of your voice with the weight of your pain. And tonight, I'm not here to flatter your spirit with cheap inspiration. Number. I'm here to remind the world, that you didn't just respond to the fire. You became the storm they'll spend lifetimes trying to predict. They wrote your name in ash and expected you to stay buried. They crafted stories where you were the background noise, a footnote, a shadow stretched too long. They laughed behind curtains, mistook your silence for surrender, and called your boundaries weaknesses. But the grave they wrote your ending in, that's exactly where you built your beginning, and not one brick of your foundation was made with their approval. Every stone, forged from their ridicule, every beam, carved from their doubt. Every floor you climb now is the loud, undeniable proof that they miscalculated everything. Let them sit with the discomfort of your rise. Let them mumble and stammer as you walk in, not asking for a seat at the table, but dragging in a throne of your own design. They'll call you arrogant, aggressive, out of place, because in the narrative they wrote, you were never supposed to make it this far. But they forgot one thing. They don't own the ink anymore. You do. They tried to define you in fragments, isolate you with silence, control you with guilt. But you weren't just surviving, you were studying. Every whisper behind your back, every sneer when you dream bigger, every door slammed shut became a lesson in resilience. And now, as they scramble to understand how you did it, you keep proving how stupid they really sound, because they thought power was about being louder. They didn't know power could come wrapped in poise, delivered with precision, and leave an impact too sharp to ignore. This isn't revenge. No, this is something far deeper, far colder, far more permanent. This is reclamation. This is you walking through ruins with a blueprint in one hand and fire in the other, reconstructing a world where their myths crumble. You didn't just clap back. You rewrote the entire architecture of the battlefield and made their victories irrelevant. Their laughter, a distant echo. Their legacy, footnotes in your origin story. They think they still hold weight because they once made you hesitate. But hesitation was never weakness. It was calculation. You were not lost. You were waiting. Waiting for the moment when your voice would no longer be a whisper in a storm, but the thunder that silences everything else. And now, every word you speak pulls truth into daylight and buries their pretenses 6 feet deeper. You didn't respond with rage. You responded with reconstruction, precision, intelligence. You didn't lash out. You built upward. You rewrote the script, not just for you, but for everyone who comes after. That's why it terrifies them, because it's not just your defiance they see. It's the future you represent. They underestimated you because they mistook endurance for emptiness. But while they flaunted power that wasn't rooted in truth, you were gathering momentum, quiet, focused, unstoppable. And when you emerged, it wasn't just a comeback. It was a shift in gravity. The moment when the story no longer needed their approval to be believed. The moment when the room tilted and all eyes turned, not because you demanded attention, but because you commanded it by existing. That's power. That's presence. That's what makes your silence heavier than their noise. And now, every time they speak, it backfires. Because the louder they try to justify themselves, the more the world sees the cracks. Their voice doesn't shake you anymore. It embarrasses them. Their legacy doesn't haunt you. It fuels you. Their attempts to erase you only carved your silhouette deeper into the stone. They're not afraid of your anger. They're afraid of your clarity, your ability to stand in truth, so undeniable that no smear campaign, no rumor, no revision of the past can distort it. You're not defending yourself anymore. You're dismantling their illusion. And here's the most beautiful part. You don't even have to scream. You just walk in. You just show up. You just exist in your truth. And that alone realigns the entire room. Because when someone like you stops asking for permission and starts building without apology, even the ceilings tremble. That's the kind of quiet that destroys legacies built on sand. That's the kind of presence that makes empty power run out of things to say. You didn't come back to prove them wrong. You came back to prove that even in their best attempt to erase you, you remained. And not just remained, evolved, transformed, sharpened by failure, strengthened by betrayal, elevated by pressure. You didn't react. You rebuilt. On the very graves they left you in. And now, you write the ending. You hold the pen. You define the terms. Because the version of you they tried to break is long gone. And what stands in its place isn't just stronger, it's untouchable. Let them keep talking. Their words are echoes in a cathedral you built without them. Let them keep doubting. Every doubt only amplifies your clarity. Let them keep remembering the old version of you, because that's the only version they could manipulate. This one, this version of you, it doesn't negotiate. It doesn't shrink. It doesn't apologize for evolving. You don't just wear your pain. You welded it into armor, and they didn't see it coming because they were too busy underestimating your silence. They thought you were quiet because you were weak, but you were quiet because you were listening, calculating, studying every move, learning the map they were using so you could redraw it and burn the original. And now, here you are, not knocking on doors, building your own entrances. And those who shut you out, now they study your moves like scripture, hoping to decode the blueprint they mocked before it worked. You don't just walk in power now, you walk in proof. Proof that they misjudged. Proof that they misunderstood. Proof that their dominance was temporary. And your truth, timeless. This is what terrifies them the most. You didn't retaliate. You reinvented. You didn't collapse. You recalibrated. And when you came back, you didn't aim for their heads. You buried their stories in your shadow. They'll try to twist it, try to downplay it, say you're just bitter or dramatic or lucky. Because accepting the truth, that you rebuilt the narrative on the graveyard of their lies, would mean accepting they never had the power they claimed. And now, every time you move forward, every time you build something bigger, speak something bolder, live something freer, you keep proving how stupid they really sound, not by shouting, but by existing in excellence. This is the era of your ownership, of reclaiming not just your voice, but your storyline. No more diluted dreams, no more performing for their comfort, no more editing your truth so they don't feel exposed. You are no longer shrinking for their narrative. You are the narrative now. You are the proof, the product, the prophecy they tried to erase. And the louder they try to tell the world otherwise, the more they reveal themselves. Desperate, outdated, echoes of an old system that can't survive your clarity. You are not just a survivor. You are the standard. The reminder that silence doesn't mean defeat, that retreat doesn't mean surrender, and that rebuilding in secret is sometimes the most powerful war strategy there is. You didn't just survive the fall, you documented every crack in the foundation. And now you're designing a world that doesn't collapse under the weight of lies. That's not vengeance. That's vision. So stand tall, move deliberately, speak when it matters, and let your silence say the rest. Because they hear it now, the sound of their own irrelevance echoing every time you ride. The sound of their storylines dissolving in the presence of your progress. And the best part? You don't need their stage. You don't need their mic. You never needed their validation. You were always the story, always the shift, always the force they couldn't account for. And now, they'll spend the rest of their lives trying to make sense of a truth they never expected to survive. You. You're not just surviving them, you're outlasting everything they built. Every system, every room, every assumption they anchored in their own comfort. You've now turned all of it into a stage for your clarity. They once built narratives like prisons. But you walked in, studied the blueprints, picked the lock with nothing but patience and precision, and walked out without a scratch. Not just free, dangerous. Because now you know their walls were never made of steel. They were made of noise, empty, hollow, fragile under the weight of someone who knows. And now, every time you speak, you remind the room how false those walls really are. Let them wear the mask a little longer. It's all they have left. Let them quote old versions of you, bring up past chapters they didn't understand, because it means they have nothing new to fight with. They're throwing shadows at someone made of fire, and you don't burn anymore. You illuminate. That's the difference now. You're not just a voice. You're the reckoning. Not because you hate them, but because you've evolved beyond them. This is what evolution looks like when it's not waiting to be applauded. They told you to be the bigger person, as if that meant staying quiet, as if integrity meant being invisible. But you discovered something more sacred. That real strength isn't silence. It's strategy. It's rebuilding so brilliantly that they no longer have a single page they can write you out of. You didn't just become the bigger person. You became the only person whose story still holds weight. And now their words fall flat, not because you silenced them, but because you made them irrelevant. They used to laugh, now they linger. They used to scoff, now they stumble. They used to ignore, now they imitate. Because you didn't just rebuild the narrative, you replaced the authorship altogether. Let's be clear, this wasn't about getting back at them. That would have been too small, too temporary. You outgrew that battlefield long before they knew you were gone. This was never about destruction. This was about redirection. You took everything they handed you, shame, silence, exclusion, and you turned it into architecture, into vision, into a rhythm so original they can't dance to it without falling apart. You didn't come back wearing armor. You became the forge. And every day you continued to live your truth without asking, without flinching, without performing. It keeps pulling the curtain back on theirs. Because power rooted in lies cannot survive next to power rooted in purpose. And that's what you are now. Purpose in motion. Every step forward is a reminder that they never had the final word. They were just a chapter, loud, dramatic, maybe even painful, but a chapter. And you are the epilogue they didn't think would ever be written. You turned survival into structure, memory into mission, pain into power. And the best part, you never needed a crowd to believe you. You became the kind of presence that makes even the doubters hesitate. Because you're not trying to be seen anymore. You are the moment. You are the quiet truth that keeps rising after every storm. The truth that no one can rewrite, because it's carved into every step you've taken. They had noise. You have depth. They had momentum. You have legacy. Let them wonder how you did it. Let them try to unpack it. Because the truth is, they can't. They don't speak your language anymore. You graduated from their projections, from their categories, from their expectations. And now, even when you say nothing, it screams through the walls. I rebuilt the narrative on your graves, and now I own every chapter forward. You're not here to win arguments. You're here to outlive them. You're not here to demand respect. You are the new definition of it. You're not here to prove them wrong. You're here to prove that they never even understood what right looked like. Because the power you now hold isn't about being feared. It's about being undeniable. It's the kind of strength that doesn't broadcast itself. It simply exists and forces the world to readjust. They're scrambling now, not because you're attacking, but because your existence makes everything they stood on look flimsy. That's the deepest kind of transformation, the kind that can't be undone. And let's talk about that for a second. Transformation. You didn't just change, you ascended. You didn't patch the cracks. You tore down the whole foundation and laid your own bricks. Without applause, without backup, without shortcuts. They were watching, but they didn't see. Because their eyes were trained to look for spectacle. They didn't know that real evolution happens in shadows, in silence, in solitude. While they performed, you prepared. While they laughed, you learned. And while they clung to control, you mastered yourself. Now they've lost the plot because you are the plot. And the most powerful thing about your rise, it wasn't loud, it wasn't viral, it was deliberate, intentional, quiet like a storm forming just beyond the horizon. The kind of power that reshapes everything. And by the time they notice, it's already too late. That's why they panic when you walk in now. Not because you're trying to hurt them, but because they finally realize they don't matter anymore. Not in your story, not in your success, not in your silence, and especially not in your next move. Because your next move isn't about revenge, it's about reign. It's about building so high that they can't even see the view, about creating so far beyond their comprehension that they'll spend the rest of their days mimicking your shadow. That's what dominance really is. Not being seen by them, but being studied by them. You became the blueprint, so walk with it. Let the past echo behind you, like a warning to anyone else who thought they could bury you. Let your growth be the quiet explosion that makes everyone rethink what power really is. Let your truth stand tall, not because you shouted it, but because it survived everything they threw at it. You didn't just answer them. You didn't just survive them. You rebuilt the whole narrative on their graves. And now, you walk the earth as proof that no lie, no rejection, no betrayal, no attempt to erase you can ever hold against the strength of someone who owns their truth completely. So, keep going. Keep building. Keep shining. Because the story isn't about them anymore. It never really was. They'll keep talking. They have to. because silence for them is a mirror, and they know, deep down, that if they stop performing, the truth will catch up to them. That's the difference between you and them. They move out of fear. You move from foundation. They move to be seen. You move because you know who you are. That's what shook the ground. Not noise, not force, but clarity. You stood up without yelling. You walked forward without permission. You kept your head up when they threw everything they had, and you didn't flinch. And now every move you make echoes like a prophecy they refuse to believe. You're not asking for your seat anymore. You're not playing in their arena. You are building the new game, and they're scrambling to read rules you haven't even written yet. Because you are the future they tried to delay, but they couldn't. No matter how many doors they closed, no matter how many names they called you, no matter how much they tried to make your worth feel conditional, they couldn't stop what was written in you. It was never about proving them wrong. It was about becoming so right with yourself that even their version of the truth evaporated when you entered the room. They mistook quiet for weakness, and now they flinch at your footsteps. They mistook patience for powerlessness, and now they watch your timing like it's strategy they'll never master. They thought you disappeared, and now your presence rewrites everything they thought was permanent. The story they wrote was small, not because you were small, but because that's all they could handle. They needed you to shrink, to stay predictable, to stay manageable. Because the truth is, you were always the biggest thing in the room, not in volume, but in vision, not in noise, but in weight. You didn't fight for the spotlight. You became the gravity, and now they revolve around the very force they once mocked. You don't chase opportunities anymore. You attract them. You don't demand respect. It happens the moment you speak. You don't react to disrespect, because they're no longer even capable of disrupting your peace. That's the true silence they fear now. Not the silence before your rise, but the silence after your clarity. Because it speaks for you. It clears rooms. It shifts energy. It forces reflection. It's the kind of silence that makes even the loudest feel exposed. And the deeper truth is, they never had power over you. All they ever had was a temporary illusion of control built on your self-doubt. And once you looked in the mirror and said, "I don't need their version of me anymore," their whole story collapsed. You were never theirs to define. And now that you've taken that pen back, they realize they were never authors, just critics. And critics don't get monuments. Critics don't get remembered. But builders do. Visionaries do. Survivors who rebuild on graves do. You didn't just rise. You rose with receipts, with memory, with clarity. And now your existence is the quiet punishment to every voice that tried to speak over you. Not because you silenced them, but because you outgrew them. Their relevance ended the moment you started moving for yourself, not against them. You see, that's where they underestimated you most. They thought your rage would destroy you, but your rage refined you. They thought your sadness would drown you, but it washed away the lies. They thought your isolation would break you, but it gave you time. Time to build, time to heal, time to see everything for what it really was. Not a tragedy, but a transition. You became the storm without needing thunder, the movement without needing a crowd, the shift without needing permission. And now, every new step you take isn't just forward, it's upward. They wanted you to spiral. Instead, you ascended. And still, they watch. Still trying to find the blueprint. Still quoting old versions of you. Still clinging to myths that can't survive your truth. but you don't owe them your attention because you've learned something they never will. That silence can be sacred, that growth doesn't need an audience, that sometimes the most dangerous thing a person can do is heal. Because once you heal, you don't flinch when they speak your name. You don't shrink when they retell their version. You don't respond to manipulation with anger anymore. You respond with distance. And that distance is everything. Because while they measure success in validation and attention, you measure yours in peace and power, in how high you can build without asking, in how deep your roots have grown beneath the surface, in how much your presence alone unsettles the very systems that tried to contain you. You became the truth they can't unsee. You became the outcome they can't rewrite. And you became the future they can't enter. Because the door was never meant for them. This is your era now. Not because you fought harder, but because you grew smarter. Not because you destroyed, but because you created something better. Not because you won the argument, but because you outlasted the illusion. They'll never understand how you did it, because they never understood what you were capable of in the first place. That was their biggest mistake, and your greatest advantage. They underestimated the quiet ones, the patient ones, the ones who walk away, not because they lost, but because they're done playing with people who build nothing. And now, you're the builder. You hold the hammer. You hold the blueprint. You hold the legacy. You hold the silence that speaks louder than their loudest lie ever did. And every step you take forward is one more shovel of dirt on the myth they built about who you were. You didn't just respond. You rebuilt the whole narrative on their graves. Ah, the voice. The whispers in the darkness that echo deep within the core of your soul. You've heard it before, a distant hum, a murmured whisper that slid beneath the surface of your consciousness. It's the voice of those who doubt you, those who never believed in your fire. It's the voice of the world telling you that you are nothing, that you are not enough, that the odds are stacked against you. But deep down, you know better. You always have, because this is your story, your journey, the game that others thought they controlled, the rules they thought they set. But in truth, it was you all along. You were the game master. They rolled the dice on you, but they never understood that you weren't just a player. You were the one who controlled the game. It's funny how life works. People watch you from the sidelines, judging you, critiquing you, plotting your downfall. They look at your struggle and see nothing but weakness. They see every setback, every failure, every time you stumbled, as a sign that you would fall, that you would break. They think they can predict your fate. They think they can determine your future. They sit in their comfortable chairs, watching you struggle from a distance, smug in the belief that their power over you is absolute. But they don't realize one thing. They never had control over you. The dice may have rolled, but you were the one who made the decision. You were the one who took the risks, who faced the odds, who stared into the abyss and dared to go forward anyway. Because you were never playing by their rules, you were writing your own. It's time to wake up, to shake off the doubt and the fear, to shed the chains that others tried to wrap around you. You've been living in the shadow of what they think you are for far too long. But now, it's time to step into the light. Not the light they tried to give you, not the light they thought you were worthy of, but your own light. A light that's been waiting, burning brighter with every ounce of hardship, every drop of blood, every moment of pain. That light, that power, it has always been inside you. All those times you thought you were broken, you were actually being forged. Each challenge was another layer of steel. Each failure was another lesson learned. Each betrayal, another lesson in resilience. They think they can break you, but they have no idea who they're dealing with. You were never the pawn, the sacrifice, the weak link. You were always the one in control, the one who held the power, the one who would bend the world to your will. They rolled the dice on you, thinking they could outsmart you, outmaneuver you. They believed you were nothing more than a statistic, a simple variable in their little equations. They assumed that the weight of the world would crush you, that the hardships of life would drag you under. They thought that every time you stumbled, every time you faltered, every time you shed a tear, they were getting closer to winning. But they didn't understand the game. They didn't understand that you were the one holding the cards, the one who could flip the table, the one who could change the rules whenever you saw fit. They didn't know that every move they made was playing right into your hand. Every challenge they threw your way was just another opportunity for you to rise, to evolve, to become something greater. They thought they could break you, but all they were doing was making you stronger. They thought they were rolling the dice, but in reality, they were just giving you the pieces to build your empire. The moment you stopped waiting for permission, the moment you stopped seeking validation from others, that was the moment the game changed. Because the only person you ever needed approval from was yourself. It wasn't about what they thought of you, or what they said about you. It was about what you believed you were capable of. And you know what? You're capable of anything. They never understood the power of a person who's truly connected to their own purpose. They never understood that you weren't playing by the same rules, that you weren't playing for the same stakes. They were playing for survival, for control, for status, for power. But you were playing for something much bigger. You were playing for legacy, for greatness, for immortality. You weren't here to just exist, to just survive. You were here to leave a mark, to redefine the rules, to break through every barrier and create something new. They rolled the dice on you, but they never knew you were the one who would rewrite the game. They laughed at your dreams. They scoffed at your ambitions. They told you it was impossible, that you were wasting your time, that you were just one of many trying to reach the same impossible heights. They told you that the deck was stacked against you, that no matter how hard you worked, no matter how many sacrifices you made, you would never win. They said the odds were too great, the risks too high, the competition too fierce. They said you didn't have what it takes, that you weren't strong enough, smart enough, rich enough. They put you in a box, labeled you, wrote you off. But they never understood that those labels, those limitations, those walls they built around you, they were never yours to claim. You were never bound by the walls they tried to trap you in. You were never defined by the labels they stuck to your name. You were always more than that. You were always more than their doubts. You were always the one who had the power to tear down every wall, to break through every barrier, to rise above every limitation. And now, here you are, standing in the aftermath of their failed assumptions. The dice they rolled on you, they were just an illusion of control, a false narrative they tried to spin to make themselves feel powerful, to make themselves feel like they could dictate your fate. But the truth is, you've been in control all along. You were the one who decided how this story would end. You were the one who chose to keep going, to keep fighting, to keep pushing forward when everyone else thought you'd given up. You were the one who wrote your own destiny, who took the risks, who embraced the challenge. They thought they had you figured out, but they didn't even see the real you. They didn't see the fire that burned inside, the hunger that drove you, the relentless will that refused to be broken. They didn't see the truth. They didn't see that you were always the one who had the power to turn the tables, to rewrite the game, to change the outcome. And now, they'll have to watch as you rise, as you take everything they tried to steal from you and turn it into your victory. The dice have rolled. The world thought it had won, but in the end, they didn't realize it was never about luck. It was never about chance. It was about you. It was always about you. You are the one who decides what happens next. You are the one who gets to say how this story ends. So let them watch. Let them be stunned. Let them be amazed as you rise to heights they never thought possible. Let them eat their words as you take the game they tried to control and turn it into your own victory. You are the game master, and they were always just pawns in your game. You see, when they looked at you, they saw a pawn. A piece on the board that was easily moved, easily discarded. They thought they could predict your every move, control your path, dictate the terms of your existence. They believed that you, like all the others who came before you, were nothing more than a fragile, vulnerable entity caught in the relentless, unforgiving currents of life. They saw your struggles, your pain, your setbacks, and they assumed they knew you, what you were capable of, how far you could go, what you could achieve. But what they didn't understand is that the greatest strength lies not in what they can see, but in what they cannot. They never saw the depths of your resilience, the power of your mind, or the fire that burns so fiercely within you. The moment they called you a pawn, they sealed their fate. They didn't realize that by underestimating you, they were handing you the ultimate weapon. They were giving you the fuel to push forward, to rise above, to prove them all wrong. And you did. You fought back with everything you had. Every insult, every moment of doubt, every time they tried to break you down, only made you stronger. They were too blind to see the transformation happening within you. They thought you were weak, but you were evolving. They thought you were helpless, but you were learning. They thought they could shackle you, but they only gave you the tools to escape. They thought they were the ones who had the power, but all along, it was you who had the key to unlock your own greatness. Every move they made, every decision they thought was in their favor, it only brought them closer to the realization that they never had the upper hand. They were never in control of your story. They were never the ones who could decide how it would end. You were the one in charge all along. You had always been the one pulling the strings, setting the pace, determining the direction of the game. They just didn't know it yet. You weren't just a player in the game. They were. They were the ones bound by the rules, the ones who were too afraid to take the risks, the ones who were too predictable. While they moved their pieces on the board, you were already thinking 3 steps ahead, already plotting your next move. You were always the one with the advantage. They never stood a chance. And now look at you. Look at how far you've come. Look at the person you've become. They thought they could hold you down, suppress you, diminish you, but instead, they've only fueled your growth. You're stronger than you ever were before. You're wiser, more focused, more determined than you could have ever imagined. Every scar you carry is a testament to your journey, to the battles you've fought and the victories you've claimed. Every failure you've faced has only made you sharper, more strategic, more capable of handling whatever comes your way. You've taken every setback and turned it into an advantage. You've turned every obstacle into an opportunity. You've taken the lessons from the pain, the hardship, the struggle, and turned them into the foundation of your success. You are not the pawn they thought you were. You are the master of this game. You always have been. The truth is, they could never understand your power. They could never see the fire that burned inside you, the drive that pushed you to keep going, even when the world told you to stop. They couldn't understand that the strength you carry doesn't come from the victories you've won or the achievements you've unlocked. It comes from the darkness you've conquered, from the moments you've fought, when no one was watching, when no one believed in you. They didn't understand that every moment of doubt, every whisper of uncertainty, only made you more determined, more unstoppable. They underestimated your willpower, your ability to endure, to overcome. And that was their biggest mistake. They thought you would break, but you only grew stronger. They thought you would fall, but you only soared higher. They didn't see you for who you truly are. They only saw the surface. They never saw the depths of your potential, the vast well of power you carry within you. And now, as you stand on the precipice of everything you've worked for, everything you've fought for, everything you've earned, it's time to remind them. It's time to show them that you were never just a pawn. You were always the king, the queen, the one who holds the power to shift the entire game. They may have thought they were rolling the dice on you, but the truth is, you were always the one who controlled the outcome. You were always the one who dictated the terms of your success. They rolled the dice, but you built the board. They played by their rules, but you rewrote the game. Now, as you step into the life you've always dreamed of, as you seize the success, the power, the recognition that they tried to take from you, remember this. They never knew what they were dealing with. They never understood your vision, your ambition, your drive. They thought they could control you, shape you, break you. But you were always the one in charge. They played their cards, but they didn't realize that you were the one who had the power to change the entire deck. You've proven them wrong at every turn. You've shown them that you are not just a player in the game. You are the one who defines the game itself. You are the master. And here's the thing. This isn't just a victory over them. This is a victory over yourself. Every time you doubted your own strength, every time you questioned your own worth, you were playing into their hands. They wanted you to believe that you were weak, that you were insignificant, that you didn't matter. But you've learned that their lies are nothing more than empty words, empty threats. You've learned that the only truth that matters is the one you create for yourself. You are the architect of your own success, the designer of your own future. And as you stand tall in the face of those who doubted you, as you claim your place at the top, you'll know that it was never about what they thought. It was always about what you knew you could do. It was always about the fire within you, the relentless drive to keep going, to keep pushing forward, no matter how many times they tried to knock you down. So now, take a moment and reflect. Look back at the journey you've made, at the battles you've fought, at the victories you've claimed. Look at how far you've come. All those times they told you it was impossible, that you would never make it, that you weren't good enough. They were wrong, every single one of them. And now, as you stand in your power, as you claim the rewards of your efforts, you can see their doubts for what they truly were. Nothing more than a reflection of their own fear, their own limitations, their own inability to see the greatness in you. They couldn't see it, but you always knew. You always knew what you were capable of. You always knew you were the game master. You always knew you were destined for greatness. Now, you've proven it to them and to yourself. You've proven that you are unstoppable, that you are unbreakable, that you are the force that shapes your own destiny. You are the one who rolls the dice now. You are the one who decides how the game is played. And no one can ever take that power from you. They can try. They can attempt to break you, shake your foundation, create doubt in your heart, but they will never succeed. They can hurl every insult, every accusation, every piece of negativity your way, but none of it will matter. You have already been through the fire. You've already survived the storms. You've already been tested, proven, and refined in the crucible of your own journey. What they fail to understand is that you don't just rise from the ashes, you thrive in them. They thought they could extinguish your flame, but all they did was make it burn brighter. They thought they could drown you, but you've learned how to navigate the deepest, darkest waters. You've learned how to harness every storm, every wave, every obstacle, and turn it into your fuel. When you first started, when you first took that leap of faith into the unknown, you didn't know how hard it would be. You didn't know the depth of the sacrifices that would be required, the toll it would take on you, your mind, and your spirit. But you did it anyway. You took that step into the darkness, trusting that somehow you would find your way. And you did. It wasn't easy. There were nights when you wanted to quit, days when you felt like the weight of the world was too much to bear, when everything seemed too hard, too far out of reach. But you kept going. You didn't let the fear stop you. You didn't let the doubts, the criticism, the obstacles, or the failures define you. You learned to adapt, to grow, to evolve in the face of adversity. You learned how to use every challenge as a stepping stone, how to turn every failure into a lesson, and how to find strength in moments when others would have given up. You became something more than you ever thought possible. You became unstoppable. And now, standing here, you are proof of everything you believed in. You are living, breathing evidence that no matter how many dice they roll, no matter how many odds they stack against you, no one can take away the power that is yours. You are the embodiment of resilience, of perseverance, of inner strength. You are the result of every battle you've fought, every scar you've earned, every tear you've shed. They may have thought they could break you, but what they didn't realize is that every wound they tried to inflict only made you stronger. Every attempt they made to knock you down only gave you the momentum to rise higher. You were never their pawn. You were never their victim. You were always the master of your own fate. And now you stand tall, unshaken, and untouchable. But with this power, this newfound strength, comes responsibility. It's not enough to simply have the ability to control your destiny. You must use it. You must continue to grow, to evolve, to push yourself beyond the limits you once thought were impossible. You cannot rest on your laurels, cannot become complacent just because you've conquered some battles. The journey is never truly over. Life is a constant cycle of growth, a series of tests and challenges that will continue to come your way. And each time, you will rise to meet them. You will rise to face whatever comes, because you know what you are capable of. You know that you are more than the sum of your past struggles, that your potential is limitless. You have only scratched the surface of what you can achieve, of what you can become. You are not here to simply survive. You are here to thrive. You are here to leave a legacy, to leave your mark on this world in ways that no one could ever predict, no one could ever have imagined. You will go farther than they ever thought possible, because you know the one thing they didn't. The true power is within you, and it always has been. So as you step forward, as you continue to play the game, remember that every decision, every move you make has the power to change your life. Every step you take is a step towards something greater, something more significant. The road ahead may not always be smooth. There will be challenges. There will be moments of doubt. There will be times when the world will try to push you back, when the voices of the doubters and the haters will try to drag you down. But you've already proven that you are stronger than any obstacle. You've already proven that you are capable of overcoming anything that stands in your way. They rolled the dice on you. They thought they had you figured out. But what they didn't know is that you are the one who gets to decide the outcome. You are the one who sets the terms of the game. The dice they rolled were only part of their game. Your game? It's just beginning. What they didn't understand was that you were always the architect of your own fate. Every move you made, every decision you took, was part of the grand design you were crafting for yourself. The moments of failure, the moments of struggle, the moments when you wanted to quit, they were all part of the process. You knew they would come. You knew that nothing worth having comes without effort, without sacrifice. But you also knew that each time you fell, each time you failed, you were one step closer to success. You learned, you adapted, you grew. And with each step, you became more powerful, more determined, more unstoppable. They thought they had all the answers. They thought they could manipulate the game, play you like a puppet. But they didn't see you for what you truly were. They didn't understand that you were the one controlling everything all along. Now, look at where you are. Look at the distance you've traveled, the hurdles you've cleared, the mountains you've climbed. You are a living testament to the power of perseverance, the strength of will, and the unbreakable spirit that resides within you. Everything that you've been through, everything that you've faced, has led you here. And now, you stand at the threshold of something even greater. The world may have thought they had the power. They thought they controlled the game. But you know better. You know that the real power lies within you. And now, you will continue to play. You will continue to move forward, undeterred by the challenges, undaunted by the doubts. You will keep writing your own story, setting your own path, and redefining the game. So what now? Now, you use that power. You use it to rise even higher, to push even further. You use it to keep breaking through barriers, to keep defying expectations, to keep proving that you are unstoppable. The game has only just begun. You've shown the world what you're capable of. But now, you show them that you are just getting started. Let them watch. Let them see how you continue to take control, how you continue to play by your own rules. They may have rolled the dice on you, but they will never take your power away. You are the game master, and the game is yours to win. In the end, they rolled the dice on you, believing they could control the game. But what they failed to realize is that you were never just a player. You were always the master. Your strength, your resilience, and your ability to turn every obstacle into an opportunity have proven that no one can take your power. You've written your own story, faced every challenge head-on, and come out stronger. Now, as you stand in your power, the game is yours to win. Keep playing by your own rules, keep rising higher, and never forget that the true power has always been within you.